and I wanted to get as good a picture as I could in my mind so I could tell others. And I stood there 10 or 15 minutes watching them, and then evidently the male got my scent, and he went south, and the female went east. But I know I saw the colors was charcoal to black, and had stripe, a lighter stripe or darker stripe around them.
Like a stripe, like a tiger stripe?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it had stripes, and
this was right in your yard where you live?
It wasn't on my property. It was joining property to me, and there's only a little strip of pine trees and whatnot, and then it's the power line. It's cut there right away, and it's only about 100 feet maybe. I can see through it, but I watched one straight through an open field and gone. But after then, my neighbors kept hearing these cats at night. They'd wake up, keeping them awake all around. They finally crossed the road. Yeah, they wound up across the road in front of them, but they were keeping them awake at night with the squalling and crying, whatever.
Did you hear it?
I didn't hear it, but I got some reliable neighbors, and I believe them.
Yeah. Now, how long ago was this that you saw?
It's been about 18 months. It was right after the pony was killed, maybe a month after that pony was killed.
So why do you want to tell people your story?
I want them to be aware that there are some big cats around.
And if people say, DNR says, there's no big cats in South Carolina.
Right.
What do you say to that?
I said, I know better, because I've seen them.
It makes you worry about your kids. Yeah.
Right, well, my grandkids now, but I do have, I was concerned about a neighbor. He had 2 small children, and I made them aware of it. But since I saw those cats, they put a trailer back there, and the guys got coon hunting dogs and pens, and got game roosters. And 2 weeks ago, my wife come and told me that she heard those cats again, but I didn't go out. I didn't. I know I can't hunt them. So, but she said she heard them. She knowed it was them. Yeah, that's been 2 weeks ago.
Incredible.
But that's my story.
Did you, when you saw those cats, did you feel threatened or scared, or was it kind of like you just couldn't believe it?
It was like I couldn't believe it, but since I didn't have no weapon or anything, I didn't want them make a move. Yeah, but it was a pine tree about big as that, and right in front of us yonder that they was back up against.
Wow. That's incredible. That's amazing. Anything else you'd like to tell people out there about cougars, or what you think people in South Carolina should know?
Yeah, I think everybody ought to be aware that they've been spotted from Abbeville to Callum Falls to Lounsville and over in parts of Georgia. I do know that.
All right, so all I'm going to ask you about first off is just tell me what you've seen and what you've encountered.
Okay, this will happen in April of 2005. I know it was in April because I was turkey hunting that morning in front of my house. I had, I think it was either 6 hens and 2 little jakes out in front of me, and I was just watching them, enjoying them, and all of a sudden they flew off. And when they flew off, there was a black cat came out of the edge of the woods, went across in front of me. The way the turkeys flew, he looked to be about 2 foot long. It looked like his tail was as long as that, and he looked, I would say, weighed 30 to 40 pounds. And came across there running, and I just got to see him for just, you know, just for a couple of seconds. And I knew it wasn't a house cat. Or at least I didn't think it was. It was too big for a house cat, and had a long tail. The tail was long as the body. Yeah.
Interesting. How long did you see it for?
Just there was a area there, I would say about 30 yards wide, an opening in the pasture, and he came out of the woods and went across the opening, and he was running wide open when he came, you know, made the crossing in the opening, and he was gone.
Wow. Amazing. He didn't get the...
Oh no, the turkeys was gone. Like I say, they was out in front of me feeding, and I couldn't figure, you know, why they just all of a sudden flew off, got scared and flew. And this time they flew, he came out of the woods and went across in front of me and went the way they flew. But like I say, it was just for a second or two, you know, this time it took him to go 20 or 30 yards across that opening there, and it was over with. Never have seen another one.
Wow. So what would you say to people who say there's no big cats in South Carolina?
I'd say I think I've seen one. I don't think I imagined it. I'm pretty sure I've seen it.
Yeah.
And my neighbor Tom Hagen that lives right up the road, he's seen one twice. So, and it's, you know, that's just right within a half a mile of where I seen that one at. So, and there's several other people that's seen a cat in that area, or said they've seen it. So, I think I've seen one.
Yeah. And what do you think it's important people know that these things are around here?
Yes, we have a lot of college students that walk that road, and live on a little country road there, and it's a good place to walk, and a lot of people in town walk that way. You know, it could come out and maybe hurt somebody. I don't know. I never have known one in this area, anybody, you know, being bothered by one, but there was always that chance.
People should know.
Yeah.
Yeah, people should know they're around. Yeah.
And I really believe they're more than one around. I really believe that.
Seems like it. We get more and more deer and stuff around. There's more for them to eat.
Oh well, there's a lot of deer around, and turkeys and everything else. So, but like I say, it was I'd say it weighed between 30 to 40 pounds, and its tail was just as long as the body. That's what impressed me so, and those things can run. Now he covered that 30 yards there just in a second or two.
Yeah. Did you say it was just solid black?
Yes, sir. Solid black.
That's neat. Well, I'd like you to just tell me what you've seen.
Well, on April the 4th, or April the 8th of 2004, I awake to quite a commotion, approximately 150 feet from my back windows, from the back of my house, in the edge of a pasture, and went out to investigate it. To make a long story short, took a handheld 1.5 million candle spotlight with me to try to figure out what was going on. My neighbors, who are family members, own a miniature horse, and when I finally got where I could see any animals or what might be taking place, I could see the little horse going away from me to get around the corner of a fence, which later proved to me that the horse seemed to me was trying to get into a pond that fence was around. As the horse made its way, I used the light to try to see if I could see anything else, and then when I did, that's when I saw what I believed to be a very large cougar type cat, broadside to me in the pasture, another 200 or 300 feet from where I'm standing, out in a bare pasture, as bare as this ground that we have around us that I can see. And I hollered at the cat, like I wasn't armed or anything else, but the cat turned and looked at me, and that image is burned into my memory, where the inside, the white hairs and the inside of the ears just are burned into my memory, and seeing the little somewhat pointed ears of the cat, and turning and looking at me like, do I want to do anything with this or not? But anyway, the cat then turned and kind of slinked off, and that time I saw the long tail. Now this to me was a tawny cat. It was not, even though it was in the dark, it was not a black panther as I hear a lot of people report seeing in and around Abbeville County. This to me would have been a light colored cat. After the cat got out of my view, I brought the light back down closer to me, maybe 50 to 100 feet away from me along the fence, and there was a set of eyeballs that showed up in the glare of the spotlight from some high grass that had grown up right along the fence. A neighbor took pictures of the little miniature horse that actually was the victim of this attack before the horse eventually was buried. And
so the cat actually got the horse?
Oh, the horse is dead. Watching. The horse was dead. Okay, I mean, it wasn't dead immediately, but once this was over, I went back in the house to get ready to prepare to go to work, and at that time I started my day job at 9 o'clock in the morning. And while I was preparing to go, this started somewhere between 4:30 5 o'clock in the morning. I kept looking out the back of the house to see if I could see, because there was more than one. There's a couple of full-size horses and this miniature horse in this pasture. I could see the larger horses, but I couldn't find the miniature. Well, I finally got a pair of binoculars out, and I could pick up the little horse was lying in a swale that's cut so that the overflow from the pond crosses the pasture and goes away. Well, I alerted my neighbors before I did anything else, and then we convened out there where the little horse was down. It was still alive at that point in time, but it was obvious to me that what I had seen was a cat from the marks on this horse. The little horse's throat was literally cut from one side to the other. The marks on the hide of this horse, especially on the head, to me couldn't have been made by anything other than that type of clawed animal. So that's basically what took place that morning that has gotten me kind of connected with this big cat business, because people won't let it go away.
Yeah.
And I don't think they have either, quite frankly, but that's my story.
Yeah. So, did you have anybody from DNR or anything look at
The local DNR biologist managed to come by later that afternoon, but the neighbors who owned the horse had already had it buried. The local animal control officer came by almost immediately. We got a hold of him early in the morning, and he came by and examined things, and the conclusion there was this is typical of a coyote attack.
Typical coyote to kill a horse.
Right.
And you said it's a miniature horse, but most miniature horses about 300 pounds.
Well, this one would have weighed between 300 and 400 pounds. It's healthy.
I've never heard of a coyote taking something that big.
Well, I can't comment on that. I don't know. But
well, luckily, Mr. McLean, I've seen the pictures of that horse.
right.
And to me, on the muzzle of that horse, those marks couldn't be made by. They don't look like bite marks to me. They look like claw marks.
I agree with you. You know, I've been around hunting and fishing my entire life. My father introduced me to hunting when I was very small. Local things, rabbit hunting, quail hunting, squirrel hunting, that kind of thing. I've lived in California, have pictures of my children pointing to the sign in one of the state parks that says this is Puma territory. I'm aware of animal life, and I believe that what I saw unequivocally was a cat, and probably a younger one, since I can't believe that there would have been two other type animals in that pasture that night with what was going on. So, and the pictures of the horse, the actual damage done to that animal, make me believe